Ethereum, the world computer that forked reality. They said Bitcoin was the revolution. A ledger, a currency, a final word in monetary truth. But Ethereum was the rebellion that came after the first page was written. It wasn't content with money. It wanted everything. It began, as all legends do, with a white paper. In the winter of 2013, a teenage Canadian-Russian coder named Vitalik Buterin wrote something that would ignite the next age of digital fire. He called it Ethereum, a new blockchain, not just for coins, but for code, for contracts, for unstoppable apps. A world computer, a machine that could run trustless logic on a decentralized spine where law became code and code became God. Act 1. Birth of a chain. In 2014, the Ethereum Foundation was formed, a wild crew of dreamers, cryptographers, and founders, some who'd later walk away, others who'd fight over its soul. They raised millions in one of the earliest token crowd sales, offering ETH in exchange for BTC. Then in July 2015, Ethereum went live. Block 0, Genesis, and with it came a new frontier, smart contracts. Now anyone, anywhere, could deploy their own financial instruments, games, DAOs, even memes, right on-chain. The rules couldn't be bribed. The contracts couldn't be corrupted. At least, that was the dream. Act 2. The DAO and the split. But every revolution faces its first betrayal. In 2016, the Ethereum community launched the DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. It was supposed to be the future of venture capital, a fund governed entirely by code and community vote. It raised over $150 million in ETH. And then, someone found a bug, a loophole in the smart contract. And they exploited it, draining tens of millions into a child DAO. No keys, no hacks, just math. The community panicked. If code is law, then the thief had broken no law. But if they did nothing, Ethereum's legitimacy was on the line. So they chose to fork. Act 3. Two chains diverged. On July 20th, 2016, Ethereum forked. One version rolled back the hack, refunded the DAO victims. That's the Ethereum we know today. The other version said, no, we honor the ledger as it stands. That became Ethereum Classic. Two chains, one born from pragmatism, one born from principle, a schism that still echoes across block space. Act 4, the ICO boom, then came the mania, 2017. The ICO boom. Initial coin offerings exploded. Ethereum became a launch pad for thousands of tokens. Everyone with a white paper and a logo dropped a coin. Some promised the moon, some delivered memes, most delivered rugs. Gas fees spiked. Ethereum struggled to scale. But it didn't matter. Ethereum hit $1,400 that January. Vitalik warned,
Have we earned it yet?
The market said no. Then it crashed. Act 5. DeFi Summer and NFT Spring. But Ethereum never died. It rebuilt. 2018, 2019. Quiet years. The builders kept building. Then came DeFi Summer 2020. Smart contracts unlocked yield farming, lending protocols, and liquidity pools. Projects like Uniswap, Compound, Aave, on-chain finance without banks. Ethereum became the engine of decentralized finance. Then came the NFT explosion. JPEGs on-chain, Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, generative art. Some laughed, others got rich. But Ethereum just kept computing. Every transaction wrote a new chapter. Akit 6, from POW to POS. But one ghost haunted Ethereum still. Gas, high fees, congestion, environmental cost. Ethereum ran on proof of work, like Bitcoin. Miners competed for blocks using energy-hungry machines. So Vitalik and the core devs plotted the long march to proof of stake. Years in the making, complex, risky, delayed. But on September 15, 2022, Ethereum executed the merge. It went silent. Then it woke up, reborn. No miners, just validators, less energy, new future. The largest network transition in blockchain history, and it worked. AC7. The world computer evolves. Today, Ethereum is more than a chain. It's a platform, a settlement layer, a playground for DAOs, stablecoins, gaming, insurance, social tokens, even layer 2 chains stacked like satellites. It's not perfect, it's congested, it's complicated, but it's alive. Every wallet, every contract, every fork, part of a global machine that can't be stopped. Act 8. The sound money experiment. Somewhere along the way, something unexpected happened. Ethereum became scarce. In 2021, with the launch of EIP 1559, a portion of every transaction fee started getting burned, permanently removed from supply. Then came the merge, and Ethereum's issuance dropped by over 90%. Less Ethereum was being created. More was being destroyed. The result? ETH flipped from inflationary to deflationary, just like that. And people started to ask, could this be the next store of value? Not just the fuel for DeFi or NFTs, but a digital asset that holds wealth, protects purchasing power, and competes with Bitcoin itself. Ethereum, the gas token, was becoming Ethereum, the savings vehicle. A programmable, yield-generating, yield-burning, asset class chameleon. Not bad for a protocol that started with a white paper written by a teenager. Act 9. Ethereum as of July 2025. Ethereum steps into its 10th year as a juggernaut of global finance, not just a platform, but a macro-scale value asset. As of July 28, 2025, ETH trades around $3,900, following a fresh rally sparked by institutional inflows and bullish ETF momentum. Analysts now project Ethereum could reach $8,000 or even $13,000 by year's end. The gas crisis? Alleviated. With the rollout of proto-danksharding and layer 2 dominance, fees have dropped to as low as 1.3 Gwei. Mainnet remains secure, while rollups carry the load. Arbitrum and Optimism now process nearly half of all Ethereum transactions. The Pectra upgrades, finalized in May, brought sweeping changes. More flexible staking for validators. Account abstraction to make wallets smarter. A smoother user experience from contract to DApp. ETH ETFs are here. They've already absorbed billions in demand, with institutional treasuries like SharpLink Gaming holding over 438,000 ETH. For the first time in its history, Ethereum is being treated like gold, but programmable, scarce, staked, and sovereign. Conclusion. For now. Ethereum was never just a tech stack. It was a bet on coordination, on open systems, on shared logic. Vitalik once said Ethereum was a tool to encode human values into the software of civilization. Maybe that's still the goal. Or maybe it's just where the next chapter begins. Because in this story, the ledger never ends. Crypto, yeah.